on YouTube and we are on Zoom, right? We're on
Yes, we
Zoom.
are.
Okay,
You got it covered.
so we'll start off with an executive summary. First part is consent agenda. This consent agenda consists of mostly our meeting minutes. Like you're right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Clerk, Wright, would you please call the roll?
Yes, I will. We're gonna start off with brand new trustee Kelly.
Here.
Trustee Frazier,
Here.
trustee Boone,
Yeah.
trustee Martin here. Trustee Bud,
Here.
the clerk is present, supervisor,
Here.
we have a can.
All right, thank you. Back at it, consent agenda, it then has our regular bills. On it though, it has a couple of special things. We have Jackson Paul here, who's going to be on our planning commission, who's agreed to. Afterwards, he's going to come up to the podium and say hello to everybody. We also have approval of a resolution to join the Myers opioid settlement. These things are starting to happen right now, so it's nice for the community. Community will have some money to maybe do some things for some people who need it. We also are going to have a new item today. We're going to do an IGA. We're going to look at entering a commitment with the Wayne County over the Denton Road Bridge. We are also going to do a equipment contract with IMEG Corporation. They do commissioning services, which I didn't know what that was, so I found out. That's testing of the systems that we build out in the recreation building. We also doing low voltage, and low voltage is basically phone, internet, security systems, video, camera. Very expensive system for the community center. We'll be approving that contract. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing some planning commission ordinance work, giving them some flexibility to make some decisions in the planning commission. Or so. We also have a new zoning that's going to be happening for Ashley Capital. They're finishing up their Ashley Capital expansion over there off Aggie Road. One of the last things that we've done. And we're buying another fine Ford F-150 this in time for the Parks Department. And I believe that's their first new truck. Yay. All right. I need a motion and I'm going to make it for the adoption of the agenda. Kevin Mackler would like to move approval of the agenda for the new item number 1, which would be for the board to allow the supervisor to send a letter of commitment to enter into an IGA with Wayne County with regards to the Denton Road Bridge. Can I get a second for that?
Support.
Thank you. I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, so now we're down to the consent agenda.
We just,
Okay.
this is adding it to the agenda, right?
I added it to the agenda and I made the motion on it. Because it was such long that I thought I'd make the motion. I just, yeah,
I'm gonna approve it. Yeah, right.
okay. We're at the consent agenda.
Okay.
Trustee Boynton,
No, approval of the agenda. You just added that,
I added it and made the motion.
so we
And
approved,
seconded it.
we approved you to add that to the agenda, now we have to set the agenda with the.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. So what do you want as a motion? Is it, I think it's on.
I need a motion for
Make a
you to
motion
approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as,
Presented with the addition of a new item number 1.
which is what it is.
Just as amended.
Okay.
Motion to accept the agenda as amended. And you support?
Support, what's that? Okay. I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor? Opposed? Passes. Thank you. Consent agenda, trustee Boynton.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that we accept the following on the consent agenda. Work study meeting minutes of January 17th, closed session meeting minutes of January 17th, board meeting minutes of January 17th, prepaid list of January 19th, 26th, and of February 2nd, and the voucher list of February 7th, all of 2023. Approval of the appointment of Jackson Hall to the Planning Commission with a term to expire October 10th, 2023. And approval of resolution 2023-02 to participate in the Meyer Incorporated Settlement Agreement and authorize the supervisor to execute the binding term sheet.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
Second.
Bud? All right, and a motion, I have a second. Here, no discussions, consent, there is none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next item is public hearing, which, excuse me. Could I have Jackson Paul come up? Jackson Paul is our newest member of the planning commission as of now. Congratulations. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Then we'd like to all shake your hand and say thank you for, of course.
Yeah, my name is Jackson Paul. I previously served as an aide for the mayor of Ypsilanti. I also ran Representative Miller's campaign for state representative. I'm also her chief of staff in Lansing. I know we have some really big projects coming to the township, and we look forward to working on those and making sure we can get those through speedy and without.
Would you come on, shake our hands? We don't, this is, you're doing a big thing. This is a lot of time commitment. That's it. Yeah, it's a hard work and committee. You're just.
Oh, boy, but why are they helping with you?
We're not correspondent, public hearing, which we have, we're at correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Representative Miller is in the audience. Would you like to come up and say hello, or? We always call for. Very thankful on that. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Just see me. So good to see all of you once again. And I will try my best to be here for the town hall on February 9th. And thank you for appointing my chief of staff officer, Jackson Hall. He's done an amazing job. You'll love him. And it's good to have new blood in someone so young and full of talent as Jackson. Thank you all. And I miss you all very much. And I wanted to answer as you were going through the agenda, and I had to hold back from doing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Correspondence, announcements, and presentations. We of course have a Denton Road Bridge informational meeting, which is going to be held Thursday, February 9th in this room at 5:30. February 9th, this Thursday, this room, 5:30, Denton Road Bridge. We're learning a lot every day on this bridge. And having it before today was maybe even before Thursday would be too soon. Just keeps on changing.
I got one. All right, I had two, but the township administrative offices will be closed on Monday, February 20th, in observance of President's Day. And also, I just want to recognize that the month of February is Black History Month. And it also was recognized by the township. You may notice on the dead board in the hallway, we have information and monitoring throughout the township hall that will be displaying facts about notable Black individuals in honor of Black History Month.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, moving on, public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak at this time on any issues regarding that we're going to be talking about today? Hearing none, we're going to move forward. First item of business is going to be the discussion on IGA, intergovernmental agreement with Wayne County, and we need to send a letter of commitment asking to enter into this. Director Akers, can you start us off?
Sure, thank you. Good evening, Wade. Before the township board is a letter, proposed letter of intent from the township to Wayne County to allow the township to complete preliminary engineering and bidding for the Denton Road Bridge and for the county to reimburse the township for the cost of completing this task. As the board knows, the Denton Road Bridge over Belleville Lake was closed on October 4th. The township has been working with our state legislators in Wayne County to figure out how to fund this project and accelerate the timeline to move the reconstruction of this bridge forward. Last week, the township met with our state legislators and Wayne County officials to discuss the project timeline and our next steps in securing the announced state funding by Representative Miller. At this meeting, several options were discussed to help move the project forward more quickly. And one of these options include having the township use our engineering consultant to do the preliminary engineering and creation of the bidding documents for the bridge. By doing this, we are anticipating that we can get an engineer under contract and starting work at least 3 to 4 months earlier than Wayne County can under their procurement and contract policies. Township officials ensured and stated in letter of intent, as well as we were ensured in our in-person meeting, that it was clear the township would be fully reimbursed for doing this. We've discussed this with Fishbeck, our township engineers, and have discussed the potential timeline with them, and barring any unforeseen requirements, utility conflicts or limits placed by state environmental and federal agencies. They anticipate being able to begin engineering work as early as mid-March and have the project potentially bid out sometime in spring, early summer of 2024. Any planned expenditures from the engineers would also need to come before the township board as well. This letter of intent is essentially a request for Wayne County to draft an intergovernmental agreement between the township and county. And this agreement, once drafted, would need to come back before the township board for approval. I do want to apologize for the inconvenience of the last minute item, but we felt it was important that the board be aware of this opportunity as soon as possible, and that we ensure timely, so that we can ensure timely discussion and direction could occur. This concludes my summary, and I'm happy to answer any questions I'm able regarding the request.
Trustee Martin?
I just want to make a comment. I talked to Supervisor McNamara briefly about this, and I commend him for taking the ball and running with it and getting this underway. I felt that if we could be a part of the engineering and the process and pay the money up front, that we could get this done expediently. And I appreciate his hard work on this. Thank you.
Yeah, it became evident, and Reggie Miller was there. I keep on wanting to say trustee. Representative Reggie Miller was there, and we were just there to try to figure out, making sure that the money could come to us as unencumbered as possible. We really had no plans on doing this. But as the county was going through its 15-step procurement process, we realized that they were going to take at least 4 months, they said, to be able to get an engineering firm. It takes about 6 weeks for them to bid it. And I've seen the RFP that we're using, because we're using everything Wayne County's using, just to make sure that we're apples to apples. It would take a team of 3 or 4 engineers 2-3 weeks just to fill these RFPs out. They're massive. And unfortunately, though, because we want our money back, we're going to mimic some of their stuff, but the board, our board works a lot faster. We also don't have tons of projects going on through small groups. We can work with them as they design it to make sure it has the elements that we need and that it's providing what we need for as a community. So it sounds good. Bad things can happen though. If there's a high pressure gas line, you know, it could be 2 years more. So I mean, it's just crazy things. We're taking the next step that maybe get us there within 2 years. But the county is 3, and I don't see how they even get done in 3. I think it's close to 4 or 5. And that's trying. That's done working power. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, number 1. Discussion on to consider approval of the selection of IMEG Corporation for commissioning services for the community center project. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Fraser. Support. Thank you, Deputy Director.
Good evening, board. Lamprey and Cressa are owners representative for the community center project, publicly issued and advertised an RFP for commissioning services along with directly contacting 6 firms to encourage an RFP response. On December 15th, 2022, proposals were received from 5 firms, opened and read aloud publicly. Post-bid interviews followed. The project team recommends engaging IMED Corp. Based on their project experience, staff, no exceptions to the RFP draft contract, and the fee for this engagement. The recommended amount is $27,300 plus a not to exceed reimbursable expense of $500 for a total recommendation of $27,800. Rob Kotowski from Plant Moran Cressa is here to answer any questions you may have.
Why don't you go over what this commissioning services are? Martin, trustee Martin, that's why you have it.
Having to print from the dictionary that definition of it because I figured someone would ask. Commissioning is a collaborative, quality-driven, systematic process that focuses on verifying and documenting that a building and all of its systems are planned, installed, inspected, tested, operated, and managed as designed. Some of the main building systems involved in commissioning is going to be the mechanical systems like the HVAC, ductwork and ventilation, electrical systems such as power distribution and lighting controls, plumbing systems, communication and alarm systems, and protective systems such as fire and smoke protection. The building envelope such as the walls, roofs, windows, curtain wall, doors, etc. So they test everything to make sure it matches.
Any questions? This was. So, is this within budget?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay, I've got a motion by trustee Frazier, supported by trustee Kelly. Hearing no further comments, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is discussion on and to consider approval of the section of Telesystems, CNM Telecommunications, Johnson Control and Johnson Controls for the community center's low voltage project. Can I get a motion? Chief Correct.
I move we consider approval of the selection of Telesystems, CNM Telecommunications, and Johnson Controls, Inc. for the Community Center Low Voltage Project for a total of $646,310 and.
Steve Woodson, trustee Martin. Got it. All right, Director Renaud.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. So as part of the Community Center project, Guidepost Solutions, our project's technology designer, publicly issued and publicly advertised an RFP for low voltage technology contractor services on November 15th of last year. So 4 technology contractors responded to the RFP. Bids were opened and read aloud publicly on December 13th of last year. Post-bid interviews followed, and the project team partnered with the Township IT Department for recommendations of vendors. So the project team recommends engaging with the following firms based on their final cost-effective approach, project experience, and RFP response. So we have Telesystems for audio, visual, and sound. CNM Telecommunications for the telecommunications portion, which involves infrastructure, cabling, the wireless access points, and phones. And then Johnson Controls for the access control system, surveillance, and intrusion system. So that's a combined total of $646,310.93, which that includes a 10% owner controlled contingency in that fund. This amount is also within the Board of Trustees approved project budget. Happy to answer any questions.
This is everything that's not high voltage. I mean, it's video. Does it include the equipment, like video equipment, or is it not? Okay. No other questions? Pretty standard, okay. I have a motion by trustee Martin. I have a support by trustee Boyton. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Lord.
All right, next item is a discussion to approve a second reading of an ordinance. Trustee Kelly, would you take that one? I need you to read it in its entirety.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance number 01-17-23, number 1, to increase planning commission flexibility in decisions regarding garage door orientation and minimum building separation in residential projects.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Ward. This is the second reading of an ordinance that you first read at the regular meeting of January 17th. So the planning commission had a public hearing in December and made a recommendation on a set of zoning ordinance amendments that will allow some flexibility on the previously imposed 30% minimum requirement for side entry garage door orientation in residential subdivisions and site condominiums. The purpose of that ordinance originally was to provide a break in the pattern of looking at imposing garage doors as you walk down a residential street. But what we also found was that imposes a minimum required lot size and a minimum required spacing in some of these projects that can hamper flexible development. So the planning commission offered some alternatives to side entry garage door orientation and rear entry garage door orientation, such as architecturally enhanced garage doors, recessed garage doors, minimum requirements of brick on the facade of the building, and so forth. The other aspect of the zoning ordinance amendments that were part of this request were the passage of a leniency on or a flexibility on the minimum required distance between two single-family detached dwellings in PRD or planned residential developments being 20 feet. The planning commission instead allowed for some flexibility on a case-by-case basis based on the project's design and its adherence to the intent of the PRD ordinance, which is really to be flexible and to allow some creative design options for residential development. So we hope this will still maintain the integrity of the residential zoning standards, but also open the door to other development patterns that we haven't seen before.
Any questions?
So I guess we're gonna, this means we're gonna start seeing homes closer together.
There's a potential, but there's a requirement that the planning commission will review each project individually for its unique circumstances. There's also the master plan direction that we were given a few years ago to provide increased options for infill development and housing. So the baseline is still going to be 20 feet, case by case basis, based on maybe the proximity to commercial areas, making areas a little bit more adjacent from the pedestrian access, the Belleville Road corridor, for example. The planning commission might ease up on some of those projects that are closer to the higher density areas. Probably you'll see in the south part of the township where there is that larger lot residential zoning, and probably see that stay basically the same.
You said this is to break up the pattern of wide doors in front. Because mostly now you normally see a side entry in the corner or something, right?
Yeah, right, that's right.
So this is to break up the standard 10 front door entry. That's the intention.
And actually, the way the ordinance is right now, what you have is a 30% requirement for 3 out of every 10 lots to have a side entry garage door. And what we found is that ends up resulting in a lot of the corner lots, like you said, and a lot of the lots on the outside of a curved street that are a little wider will have side entries, and they're all kind of condensed together. This will allow some flexibility to have some of those lots have side entry garages, but then apply some other architectural treatments or unique design to some of the other lots in the project. It allows the planning commission the ability to reduce the 30% minimum number of lots per side entry garages.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I have a motion by trustee Kelly, supported by treasurer Bud. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Roll call. Roll call. Thank you.
Trustee Martin. Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Trustee Gordon.
Aye.
Trustee Frazier. Trustee Bud.
Yes.
Yes for me.
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Next item is discussion and consider approval of the first reading of ordinance RZ 020723. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Trustee Kelly. Please read your roll.
I'd move to approve the reading, or first reading of ordinance RZ 02-07-23. Consider rezoning a 16.18 acre parcel number B 125-83006-0004-000 from R1B single family residential to M1 light industrial.
Support.
Steve Frazier. Okay, Director, take us down.
Okay, thank you, board. There's just one slide I'd like to show for this request. I have the supervisor mentioned Ashley Capital, which is with this LLC that owns this particular parcel. Their name is Crossroads Distribution Center North LLC. They've really done a lot of consolidating their properties. They've done a lot of rezoning in the last couple of years to get ready for potential future expansion of some of the development they have plans for in the northern half mile between Ecorse, Van Born Road off of Haggerty Road. And so the purpose of this rezoning is to bring the parcel that you see outlined in red in consistency with the master plan, which calls for light industrial future land use, which allows M1 rezoning. The applicant made clear that this parcel is almost unbuildable, if not completely unbuildable. It's got a lot of wetlands. It is likely not to be built as an industrial space. But what the rezoning does is to provide a buffer from some of the required setbacks for some of the distribution center logistics uses that are required in the zoning ordinance for some of those properties that are zoned MT. So it kind of serves as a natural buffer, and it still provides hundreds of feet of separation from, that's the homestead subdivision to the west there. But the intention here is just to rezone in accordance with the master plan, provide some additional buffering for their development. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on January 11th for this request, and they recommended approval for it.
Okay, any further questions? No? Perfect place to have a light industrial area. I'm glad we're doing it. All right, so I have a motion by trustee Kelly, supported by trustee Frazier. Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 5, discussion on consider approval. Right.
I'd like to consider approval of the purchase of the first Ford F-150 truck from Patterson Ford for Park and Rec Department for $34,675.
Support.
Which one I would get?
All right, Director Lockett.
Well, good evening, board. And as Kurt Wright said, I newly
The first.
director of parks, so you can get back and forth to our 5 parks in the community. Want to make sure you have some dependable wheels. So with that said, I'm here before you to consider approval of the purchase of an F-150 from Atkinson Ford for the cost of $34,675.06. This new fleet vehicle will be part of the Parks Department, and it was budgeted in 2022. As we all know, there was a vehicle shortage throughout the country. And, I want to thank Atkinson Ford for going out and actually finding this vehicle. It was in Ohio. He brought it in. He said, Larry, it's all I can find at this time. So with that said, this vehicle will be assigned to the fleet, belong to that director, and he's gonna take great care of this vehicle. So with that said, I recommend the board to approve.
Okay, does any other comment?
I can tell you, you could
find our parks pickup trucks by following the rust in the road.
There's no way we can turn down the first vehicle.
Yeah, well, the system was simple. It would go to water, then it'd go to GPS, and then it would go to the seniors, and then it would go to anybody else that wanted it, then it would go to parks. So, I'm glad we're getting something out of it.
And I'm glad that we're dealing with, Atchison Ford, our local, business
Yeah.
partner.
Very generous to all right, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, board.
Reports, we have none. Public comment for non-agenda items. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make comment? Oh, didn't see you there.
Hi, my name is Haley Brown. I'm a field representative from Congressman and Debbie Dingle's office. I feel like just stopping by to say hi, introduce myself formally. I was at the Vision Road Bridge meeting and the groundbreaking last week, so I was glad to get out in the township. So hopefully we'll be seeing for me as the year continues. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
It's Judge Martin. Do you want to come up and speak? All right. Okay. Judge Martin attends a lot of our meetings. Is there anybody else that wishes to make comment? Does any board member wish to make comment? Right?
I just want to.
Well, excuse me, clerk, we still do have a public comment left in chat. Stephen Dark asked if there's any updates on the gateway signs when they will be installed.
Yeah, that is a good question.
So first of all, thank you for your interest in our project. We're still working behind the scenes. So we've been working with Graphic House, our board approved sign vendor since the spring of 22 on the gateway signs and the park sign project. Our signs are done, but Graphic House has been in constant contact with both Wayne County and MDOT working to secure the necessary permits for the signs. We actually just received an email this past Saturday that the permits are still in the works, but there have been a few adjustments to the signs involving some breakaway components. So we're still working through those, and once we get those finalized permits, the construction process will continue, and we hope to have them installed by this fall.
Thank you. Good question. Any other questions?
No, Supervisor, any last chance for any of our virtual audience to raise their hand or leave a comment? Going once, going twice, and no. Thank you, Mr. Dark, for your comment.
That's right.
I just want to mention your friend, HR director myself. I met with the, our vendor, or IBEX last week, which is the, our insurance vendor, that, takes care of our health insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and, Blue Care Network, and also EHIM, who is our healthcare savings plan, provider. And I have to do a report that when we came in, it came back with favorable ratings, which is a negative increase for you next year coming up.
Our costs going down?
Going down.
Oh, good.
And hey, but there's a reason behind healthcare going down. And the reason is because of the plans that we have put in place, which one is the EHIM plan, which we pay a higher copay based on who actually, you asked, we talked about this a while back. We went in with a program with EHIM, which is a third-party administrator, which we pay a higher copay for our employees. The township does, but we get a cheaper rate based on who actually goes to the doctor, to the hospital on a monthly basis. So if we have 150 employees and only 10 people actually use the policy, that month we pay less because of the incurrence. And that's the reason why our rates are going down, because we have less people actually going to the hospital. Instead of we paying a monthly rate on the intent that everyone is going to go to the doctor, but we know everyone is not going to go to the doctor in March. So we pay based on who actually goes and not pay a higher deductible. And that's that copay that you see that EHIM pays when you go to the doctor office and they pay $20 and you pay $10. That's driving our rates down. And they also are saving us. I thought I had the I'll report information. I thought I had the report in my folder, but somebody figured it out. we saved, I know it's over $220,000 last year, we saved our healthcare costs because of HIM. And right today, which is they go on April, we go from April to, May, it's April to May, right? Our calendar year is April to May, so far, we've saved $145,000 in this calendar year, which is great. So it means the plan is working. That's another thing that the board voted on to put in place, along with everything else that we voted on, and which is giving us favorable ratings going forward. I got a AA rating.
Yeah.
These are things, not to toot our horn, but I think our horn might need two. Because the board is doing an outstanding job and making decisions based on the necessary things that need to be done to keep the costs down and still offer, value, incentives to our employees.
We should add that into the, we're gonna discuss the AAA rating and, doubling. Excuse me. All right, does anybody else wish to speak? No? Adjournment, can I get a motion?
Mr. Chair, make a motion to
Board. Board by trustee Frazier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah.